What is up, people? Welcome back to Satori Graphics, and today I'm going to kick off a 3-part series where you're going to follow along in my development and my process for designing a poster. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you exactly why research is so important when it comes to graphic design and pretty much any design project for that matter. Let's get stuck in. So why is research so vastly important? You might have heard that, it is part of the graphic design process, but you might not truly understand why it is and why it's so important. You really need to research your clients, the industry, and also most importantly, maybe, is the target audience of the client's projects and their business. But let's take a deeper look at research and exactly why and how it is effective in graphic design. Before designing anything, and even before creating concepts, I suggest that on most design projects, you do need to spend quality and lengthy time researching. Follow this 4-step process in your research phase and you really cannot go wrong. Firstly, ask yourself, what is the purpose of the design? What is the end goal going to be? When you really know and have a firm understanding of the purpose, you can then build a better idea of your path and your journey along the project. Secondly, take a look at the other existing brands or companies in that niche that you're designing for. Now, this is important because you want to design something that stands out, yet a design that still follows the conventions of that niche. The third step is to look at the target market of the design and the company. This might be one of the most crucial steps in this process, but think about the consumer of the design product. Are they old? Are they mainly female? Are they of high status in society? When you know the target market, you can then effectively target your design to them. And finally, you need to look into the industry sector as a whole, relevant to the design that you're working on. So as an example, if you're designing something for a fashion label, you're going to want to look at the entire culture of the fashion industry and the people who operate within it. What is the subculture that surrounds the industry? Are there specific words or phrases exclusive to that industry? And are there certain color schemes linked as well? These are all questions and more that you need to be asking yourself and that you need to look into, because you should fully understand the industry of the client that you're working for. So let's quickly go back to the idea of designing a logo for a fashion label or a brand. Now, if you conduct all of the research I've just spoken about, you're going to be able to fully understand what visual cues, typefaces, colors, and layouts are going to appeal to the target market. Understanding exactly what evokes a positive response in the target market is precisely what equates to a functional and a successful design. Now, by a positive response, I essentially mean the design resonates with these people, and then it leads them to invest time, interest, and even possibly money into the client's services or the products. So yeah, one of the key processes and aspects of research and development in a project is the brief, and I've talked about this many times on my channel. However, Milanote has a really nifty built-in tool that allows you to write your own briefs and also organize the brief for a project or projects. And that's what we're going to look at right now. The brief is essential to the progress and the relevancy of a graphic design. Now, as a designer, you probably will be given a brief by the client. However, it's not always going to be satisfactory. You might want to expand on things, as this will help the creative design process. Milanote has a built-in section when you can just drag and drop a brief planner into your workstation. And as you can see, I've got some auto-generated content right here, and it is a pretty good start. We have things such as the client and the goals, or the purpose. And these are things that I was just talking about previously in the video. Also, there are details on the target market and other information too. Having all of these details in one location is very helpful because I can then just refer back to them throughout my project. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and added some information on the poster project that I'm working on at the moment. Not only do I have some client background information, but the hex color codes are there too, which links back to the branding. I can just take these and implement them into my design pretty easily. So this is a good start in terms of the brief, and I'm probably going to add to it as I gather more information through my research. So my design is a poster design, and it's actually going to be a campaign to raise awareness for motorcycle safety on the roads, because let's face it, if there's one dangerous thing to be doing every day, it is riding a motorbike on the roads. And funnily enough, that is something I do. I drive a motorbike every day, as I don't drive a car, I prefer motorbikes. And the aim of my poster is to really target a specific group of people and let them know the dangers of motorcycle riding, along with a few statistics and so forth. And speaking of statistics, let's take a look at some of those right now. In 2016, over 5,000 people died from motorcycle crashes in the US. People who ride motorcycles are 28 times more likely than passengers in a car to die in a crash. 25% of people who ride motorbikes and who were involved in crashes in 2016 were actually found to have above the legal limit for alcohol. Now, if all motorcyclists in fatal crashes had worn helmets in 2016, the report stressed that an estimated 802 lives could have been saved. Driving a motorbike is inherently dangerous, and that's exactly why I've chosen to make my poster as a means to help people be more careful on the roads. Now, as part of my research, it's important to see the real dangers here, and one of them seems to be a lack of wearing a helmet, which I feel is something I'm going to add into my poster, maybe something relating to the brain or the head in some kind of way, and maybe part of a concept. So another key aspect for research in any graphic design project is the use of typography. Now, you hear me say it over and over again, typography can literally make or break your graphic designs, and that is a hard truth. And so it is vital to research your typography and how you're going to use it, as well as the actual typefaces that you need to use. Remember, typography says a lot by just how it appears and not just the words that are written. And the last key aspect of research here is going to be graphic design principles and layout styles. Especially with the poster design, the layout and the kind of balance that you have is going to be really impacting in the end result to the viewer. So again, this is something that I really want to include in the research phase of my design. Researching your layout and possible use of graphic design principles beforehand really helps you visualize the final design a lot easier. But also, it allows you to establish the content in the most effective manner. Now, I've been toying with the idea of using the Z layout pattern, and that dictates that the viewer's eye travels from the top left of the design over to the upper right, and then diagonally down to the lower left. A poster design layout is pretty crucial in the way it delivers the information to the audience, and so this might be useful. But another key aspect that I want to focus on is balance within graphic design. And the two main options I believe I have open to me for my poster are symmetrical and asymmetrical. I probably prefer asymmetrical for my design because this is going to allow a focal point and then the textual content on the other side. And this might help ensure the poster has enough negative space and not to be too crowded, but also so the poster itself is kind of balanced and visually appealing. But yeah, in the research phase, I do think it's important and helpful to consider the layout and maybe some principles that you want to use before making the actual design or even the concepts. So that was today's first of 3 videos on the poster design process using Milanote, and this was a video based around research. Now I hope you better understand why research is so important for your graphic design projects, and please do not overlook it next time you work on something. It's actually quite common to have graphic design agencies and branding agencies who spend weeks on the research phase alone. Sure, granted, they've got the time and the manpower, but that just illustrates how important research is in the graphic design process. The more you research, the more you know, the better you can target your designs to the client and their audience. I'm Tom Satori, and be sure to come back for the following 2 videos in this 3-part series, and of course, design your future today. Peace.